A very beautiful evening from India, and also a great, refreshing morning and energetic noon to all the lively and lovely audience across the globe. I, Supriya Kumar Velan, welcome you all to a talk show which inspires millions by Business Power Academy, Netherlands. And it is a global talk show which shares your life experiences. Today, we have a very special guest, an international famous personality who is none other than Tony Wechsler, who is a speaker, trainer, and coach. And the most important thing is who works with people to coach them, to inspire them, and to spread the positivity. So here we are going to meet a fantastic personality. Welcome, Tony, to our show.
Well, thank you so much, Supriya. I've been looking forward to this all week long, and I'm excited to be here and just share with your audience how to live a purposely positive life.
That's really great, and it's very honored to have you here with us today, Tony. Tony, as we all know that you're a certified life coach, you work with people, you motivate them. So everybody, including me, my live audience, is very eager to know your journey. So kindly throw a light. Yeah.
Well, I'm going to start way back at the beginning. For me, I was born in a place called Brooklyn, New York, which is in New York City. And I had an interesting life. I will start out by telling you my big secret in life, and that is that my sister was actually my mother. What that means is back in the days that I was born, it wasn't very common to have single parents in the world. And my sister, who was my birth mother, gave birth to me, and she gave me up for like an adoption to her parents. So that's where my journey started. So my parents who raised me were much older than I was. So I had a different lifestyle. But what happened is life really became a roller coaster ride. Now, how many of you have had that? Life is like a big roller coaster ride, a lot of ups and downs. And my journey was full of ups and downs. I started out relocating from Brooklyn to Long Island when I was very little, and then my father losing his job. And when you have a livelihood, you're providing for your family, and now you have this new child that you've taken on to raise, and now you lose your job. It's very stressful. Well, he ended up relocating. He got a job at a company called Kodak. They're a company that used to make cameras and film back in the old days when we used to actually take pictures and have to take them and get developed. So he worked for this company called Kodak. Interesting thing about Kodak, Kodak was one of those great innovative companies. They were one of the founders of digital photography, yet they didn't believe in it. So they ended up having some financial consequences. But my father got this job for Kodak, relocated to Rochester, ended up being here, and that's where I grew up, and that's where I've spent most of my life. I played music in high school. I used to be a DJ in high school, talk on the radio, and
That's
I wanted to do that for a living, but decided that the person who makes the most money in radio is the morning drive person, and they have to be on the air at 6 o'clock in the morning. And I was not a morning person, especially in those days. So I decided to go on for something different. Well, I ended up, long story short, I ended up getting a job at the same company, Kodak, but didn't really care for it. Tried my hand in real estate. I became a realtor when I was in my early 20s, and actually did not do as well as I expected. I really thought I was going to take on the world by storm, but it didn't work out for me. But I knew it was time to move on. I ended up getting a job in the field of investigations. So I actually, my background is I've been an investigator for like 20 years. I investigated people's crimes. I chased bad guys. I did the whole thing. I even have a private investigator's license. But have you ever had that moment in your life when you just sit back and you go, I'm doing really well, but something is better out there. You know what I mean? And that's exactly what happened to me. And I decided I want to do something different. So, long story short, and I'm kind of winding this journey up to a head. Back in 2019, I decided that I was training other investigators how to take statements from suspects. Now, is anybody out there in sales? One of the most difficult sales I think anybody could ever make would be to sell a confession to a suspect, to say, hey, sign this, and you know what, you're going to get in trouble if you sign this form saying that you did all these bad things. You're going to get it, you might even go to jail, but sign this form. That's a tough sell. And I used to teach other investigators how to make that sale, how to get that confession, and have the suspect even thank them for it. And I thought to myself, I could probably teach somebody how to sell a car if I can teach someone how to do this. So I was going to start a sales training business. And then this thing called COVID happened. You remember that, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
yeah, so COVID happens. Then I decide, now what am I going to do? So again, I have always followed influencers in the world, people like Tony Robbins, people like Jack Canfield, people like Brendan Burchard, Eben Pagan, all these great leaders, thought leaders in the world. I've been following them for a long time, and I decided that this is maybe the area that I want to get into. So I got a mentor. Everyone needs a mentor in their life. Everyone needs a coach. I truly believe that. And I found out that coaching was more suited to what I wanted to do. I wanted to work with people one-on-one and help them to achieve their dreams and desires, help them to get out of that rut that they're stuck in right now. And that's what I did in May of 2020. After that, one more thing that happened to me is I launched a podcast. I went back to those roots when I told you that I used to be a DJ and on radio. I decided, well, maybe I should do a podcast. And people were telling me, you should do this. You should do a podcast. And I said, what am I going to talk about? And here I was sitting on social media and looking out at all the negativity in the world. And there's this voice inside that said, it's your job to spread positivity. So I started Strive to Thrive, the Purposely Positive podcast, and I just recorded my 100th episode. So that's my journey.
Superb and marvelous journey you had. And the way you told about your journey, it was really a life coaster ride. I just felt that I'm in a life coaster ride, going here and there, and you joined so many jobs. You had n number of experiences. And finally, you are in the right boat of teaching, training, coaching, and mentoring. And the most important thing, Tony, I liked about you is spreading positivity. That's what the world needs today. You see everywhere when you just on your social media, everywhere you find there is some negativity, just harassing people or something going on. And in that dark cloud, you just proved a silver lining, I must say. Spreading positivity, talking about good things, making the people comfortable, and most important thing, spreading happiness. So, hats off to you, Tony, for your lovely, wonderful journey, which you have enlightened us with lots and lots of positivity. So, thank you so much for this.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Tony, one question is popping up in my mind. When you started your journey, your career, or when you told me about the way you started, have you found challenges which try to break you down? And have you faced those challenges? Then how you just overcome it and stood again for yourself? Hi.
Well, I've had a lot of challenges throughout my life. One of the biggest challenges that I faced recently was making the decision to leave a career that I was very successful in and to start a business. I know there's a lot of people out there that have always wanted to start a business and they just don't know how, or they don't know if they'll be successful. That little bit of fear sets in. You know, how many of you have had that fear set in? I know I have. I had it earlier in life, back when I was in my real estate career. And I was wondering, is this going to work out? You know, am I making enough money with this? And the thing that happened, and one of the things that stops us in life is something we call limiting beliefs. And a limiting belief was planted in me when I was in my 20s by someone who really cared about me, wanted me to do well, but gave me the advice. And what they said was that in the real estate business, you are dealing with people's most precious asset. It's usually their biggest asset they'll ever own in their life, and that is their home. And here you are, 23, 24 years old. And at that time, I probably looked more like I was still in high school. And you're looking at people who are probably in their 40s and 50s and asking them to trust you with their most valuable asset. And I said, it's just not going to happen. You're not going to be successful in real estate until you're at least 35, maybe 40. So that was advice to me given by a relative, someone who I trusted and who I cared about. But it was a limiting belief, because what it did was it made me believe and it made me doubt myself. So doubting myself was what stopped me from really excelling in that business. Now, I believe everything happens for a reason. I got out of that business and it transitioned me into the investigation world and everything worked out. But one of the things that I had to do was get rid of that limiting belief in that no one wanted to buy from someone who was that young. Now, when I started my coaching business, another limiting belief came into play, and that was that here you are, you're an investigator, you're not a coach, you're not a trainer, you're not a teacher, you're not a speaker. Why would people hire you? And I had to get over that hurdle and I had to start to believe in myself. And once I did, then I was able to reach another challenge, and that was to transition out of that full-time career. Because when I started the coaching business, Tony W Coaching, I was still working in my other job. And in February of 2021, so it'll be it's about a year and a half ago, a little over a year and a half ago, from when we're recording this, I transitioned out of that job. I left that job and didn't look back. And I do this full time, and facing that challenge really made me grow as a person. So what I want to tell everyone out there is every time you come up against a challenge, there's a growth opportunity. You can look at that challenge as something that's going to hold you back, or you can look at the challenge as something that's going to propel you forward. It's all in the way we look at things. Wayne Dyer once said, if you change the way you look at things, the things you look at change. And I think whenever we have an obstacle out there, let's turn that obstacle into an opportunity and let's run with it. And that's one of the things that I teach my clients to do. Recognize those opportunities and those challenges and take them forward. Because sometimes the things in life that you think are holding you back are really the things that are going to propel you forward.
Superb. No words to say anything, I'm just spellbound. I was seeing you, I was hearing you, what to speak. But one thing I reciprocate the same, that believing in yourself, creates miracles. When you believe in yourself, or no matter what the world says, and world is famous for, people are famous for breaking you, shaking you, rating you, and hating you. But Tony, you prove it's you who will make you, and you made yourself. The way you said limiting yourself, doubting in yourself is the biggest, sort of the gap which a person can create in personality or in his roadblocks, you can say. And when you doubt yourself, that is the biggest mistake a person do. But listening to your journey, listening to your inspirational thing, how you come out of that limiting belief, believed in yourself, and then finding the opportunities in every challenge. And that's what where Tony is here today in a very, you can say, successful coaching industry, and he's the best one. So, Tony, thank you so much for this lovely answer. And I must say, my viewers must be getting lot and lot of inspiration from you today. How to move on, how to come out of your comfort zone, and how to face your fear, how to make your belief in believing you. So once again, let's move on with Tony, and with this lovely journey, I am taking a lot of deep diving and proving that this show is going to be a hit show. Okay, Tony. Uh, we just heard about your challenges, your journey. In your life, have you ever felt that, yes, this is my awakening moment of my life? Have you ever felt that?
Yeah, I think I did when I had one of my first earlier coaching sessions, when I was in the coaching program where I got certified, and I was practicing. And it was during that session, and I don't want to get too deep into it because it involved another person, and I'm a believer in confidentiality. But there was a moment where the person I was talking to had that aha moment, had that moment where they just realized, oh yeah, I never thought of that. And I could see it in them. And I could see the way their energy shifted. I could see that they became excited again. I mean, the question that I always ask people is, what do you really want in life, right? Do you want better relationships? Do you want more energy, more enthusiasm for your life? Maybe someone wants to make more money and actually achieve that financial independence. Or would you like to just let go of your fears, your doubts, and just go for it and take action right now? Would you like to overcome that procrastination and self-doubt and start living your life with passion? And when I saw this person in front of me realize all these things, see, every single one of us have inside of us a special gift, and it's our job to discover what that gift is, unfold it, utilize it, and live it in this lifetime. It's only in this moment when we do that, when we are incredibly fulfilled and we realize life has meaning. And when I can take someone to that level in their life where they realize these things and they're ready to go for it, they realize that their greatest success is right in front of them right now, it just made me feel like this is what I was called to do. So that was aha moment number one. And if I could touch on briefly, I already mentioned the second aha moment, and that was when I was on social media. And I was scrolling on social media and I was just reading, and this is 2000. So you got to realize we had all the lockdowns going on. We had the COVID pandemic happening all over the world at this moment. We had here in the United States, we had a very vicious election period. And there was just so much negativity on Facebook. And there were friends were unfriending each other, and people were arguing back and forth about whether to wear a mask or not wear a mask, or all these things, or whether we should be locked down or not. And people were so uptight. And when I saw this, I just said, we got to stop this, because as people, we're better than that. We need more positivity in the world. And I don't mean toxic positivity where you just say, yes, everything is wonderful and beautiful. No, I mean having gratitude for the things in life that God has given us. So I looked at that and I said, someone needs to do this. And that's when I heard that voice saying, Tony, I gave you a voice, go out there and spread it. And that's when I started my podcast in October of 2020.
Wow. Once again, it's not a aha moment for you, but it's for me to also listening to this. Yeah, I agree to you 100%. When this COVID struck, everything, whole world squeezed into one room, and everything was virtual, mobile, laptop. I was shocked how to engage your audience. Being as a coach, it was really a challenging time. And everywhere, whenever you see news, whenever you watch news, hear news, that will create a lot of panic in you, anxiety. And at that particular time, if you have created a positive, white story, then I must say you're next to God, who has created lot of vibes, positive vibes when the world seriously needed. So once again, a big hats off to you, Tony, for your contribution to the society which you have made, and your awakening moment is not only for you, but for the whole world. And whole world is awakened with you, including me too, at this moment. So once again, thank you so much. And if I move to this lovely journey with Tony, I can see a lot of positivity in my guest, Tony. So my question is, Tony, what is your favorite quotation, proverb, which you see, feel a reflection of your personality?
I would have to say, and this is a little odd one. Most people would expect me to say something from someone like a Jim Rome or a Tony Robbins, but I'm going to go back to Helen Keller. Now, if you know who Helen Keller is, she was born without the ability to see or hear. And can you imagine walking around in the world like this? Well, she was taught to be able to still communicate in the world. And the quote that she left us is simply this, that life is a daring adventure or nothing at all. So I truly believe that we need to live our life as an adventure, because if it isn't, then why bother, right? Make the most of these opportunities, make the most of every opportunity. And when you were talking a minute ago and talking about how we experienced the pandemic and all the things that have happened over the last few years, if you think about it, we now live in a culture where more people are working from home now than ever before. Because what happened during COVID was the companies out there said, oh, what are we going to do? We need to have our employees work. And before, those companies, they didn't trust their employees to work from home. They say, they're going to take advantage of us. But when the pandemic hit, they had no choice. They let people work from home. And you know what? They found out that most of those people working from home are even more productive than they are going into the office, because they don't have to deal with that traffic in the morning, and they can work whenever they want. And most people actually probably work more than they should when they're working from home. So we got a more productive society, and the employees who are working from home were happier because there was more flexibility in their life. So it's interesting how something in our life that would normally knock us down will make us bigger. And I'll use my mentor, one of Tony Robbins, I'll bring him up again. They call me the other Tony. See, Tony Robbins, he's like 6'7", and he's this giant man, and as on stages all over the world. And I'm the other Tony. I'm like 5'5", but I do a lot of the same things. But what Tony used to fill these conference rooms and stadiums with all kinds of people, and he would do these workshops and these seminars, and they'd be like 4 days long. And he had all these seminars booked. And when COVID happened, all these places were canceling. And he's like, what am I going to do? And he found out, just like we're talking right now, Supriya, over Zoom, he discovered that the power of virtual content and being able to speak virtually, and how you can reach hundreds of thousands more people just going on and doing a Zoom live or a Facebook live, and something that you never would have thought of before. And now he runs almost all of his programs are virtual. He still does in person, but now personally, on a personal note, I prefer one-on-one, but I do most of my coaching over Zoom because it's just so much easier and it's so much more convenient for my clients. So it just goes to show you that something that was meant for our harm could turn out for to bring good in our lives.
Very true, Tony. And I must say, my story in your story too. Like when this COVID started, I was very perplexed. How will I do coaching? It must be very boring on Zoom. Oh, I love traveling. I miss my traveling. But trust me, when I started taking my session on Zoom, now if people call me for offline session, I will say no, 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 no. I'm comfortable on Zoom. Let's over there. So I can say this COVID pandemic has have given us a lot of opportunities. Now we can connect globally. We need not to travel to the world. If I want to connect to you, I need not to travel to your place. We can connect on Zoom and we can share a lot of experiences, our knowledge, and can build rapport with the whole world in such a grateful manner. So I must say, I can see your reflection of your previous answer, which you had told, in every challenge you will find the opportunity. Only thing is you have to pick that and click it, because taking the things and inculcating in your personality, that's the beauty of the life. So Tony, really, really wonderful. Yeah, Tony, please.
Thank you.
All right, Tony. So it's really a lovely journey, and in your every answer, I can feel the 440 voltage electrifying session. A lot of positivity, lot of nuggets, which apart from me, my viewers are always also taking, and they're enjoying this lovely journey. And if I move to my next question, Tony, we all know that you're a good singer, you're a writer, and you're a coach, and you work with so many different job companies. So, when you get time for your leisure time activities, and what are your hobbies?
Well, first and foremost, I am a musician by a hobby. I have played bass guitar since I was in high school. Before that, I played keyboards, and I took piano lessons as a kid. Never wanted to practice, but when I took those lessons, in fact, I always had a good ear for music. What I used to do is I would tell my piano teacher, and would drive her nuts. She would give me a piece of music and I'd like start to play it, but I didn't like to read the music because that was work. I wanted to just listen to it and then play it. So what I would say is, can you play it for me? I just want to get an idea what it should sound like. So she would play it, and as soon as she played it, then I would internalize it and I would sit down and I could play it. So that's where I kind of learned some of my musical skills. And when I was probably 13 or 14, some guys in my local neighborhood were forming a band, and they said, "We need a bass player." I said, "A bass player?" I said, "Okay." So they handed me this bass guitar, and I didn't really even know what a bass was back then. And so, wait, it's only got 4 strings. You guys have 6. And I learned how to play it, self-taught. I learned how to play guitar, and I've been playing in bands pretty much since high school. And I most recently was playing in a band, and was the coolest thing in the world for me. I was playing bass guitar, and my son was the drummer in the band. So to play alongside of my son it was the coolest thing in the world. We have just recently folded that band because our lead singer is just, as we're recording this, she's heading off to Boston to become an eye doctor. So she's going to medical school. So when the lead singer left, we kind of disbanded, but I was already recruited to join another band. So I've been doing this pretty much my entire life. I've written many songs. I've written poetry. So, music is something that's music and writing, I guess, is something that really fulfill me as a person. I enjoy doing that. And the other thing on a different side of it is I really love going out and doing hiking, especially in the mountains. And we have a weekend coming up here in the U.S. called Labor Day weekend. And on that Labor Day, I'm going up to the Adirondacks, which, for those who don't know, they're a mountain range in the U.S. and in New York State. And I'm going to do some hiking up in the mountains and just kind of get away, unplug, because that is one thing that everyone, I believe, needs to do, is you have to get away and unplug. Third hobby, real quick, is I love to read. I always have a book. In fact, I'm one of those people who probably have more books in my book collection than I will probably ever read, and I continue to buy them, but I love my books. So music, hiking, and books would probably be the three hobbies and passions that I have, other than speaking, teaching, and coaching. Because teaching in itself, I love getting in front of a live audience and teaching and seeing those aha moments. But hiking, that's a whole different thing. Reading, getting knowledge, and of course playing music.
Superb. So, Tony, when I was introducing you, I said in the beginning a versatile personality. So now I know why I have said, because you have any number of hobbies and number of leisure time activities. And I will say to all my viewers, be like Tony, engage yourself in any number of activities. So you will be feeling refreshed, positive, and that's what the world needs now. So, Tony, thank you so much. And also inspiring us to take some hiking, book reading from your hobbies. All right. So, Tony, we have arrived to the end of our journey, but I don't want to end it up because the journey is flowing very beautiful and we are getting a lot of golden nuggets, a lot of refreshments. My question, what would you, not a question, you can say, what message you want to give to our audience who is watching to you?
Well, I'm going to take a different direction here, but I believe that each one of us in our lives, we've experienced times where we have felt absolutely hopeless. Like everything we've worked for has gone down the drain. Sometimes we've even felt that we're a failure. Have you ever felt that way? And I certainly have. Most people have learned to fear pain so much that doing anything new, even if it's something that can clearly help us, oftentimes we say no. We say that word no just to protect ourselves. It's like when you walk into a store to buy something and someone comes up to you and says, "Can I help you?" What's your immediate response? It's usually, "No, I'm just looking." So I think the real choice comes when people learn that they can say yes, and being able to condition ourselves to say yes in life, yes to opportunity, yes to possibilities, yes to looking at what's really possible, instead of trying to protect ourselves from something that maybe we really don't need to protect ourselves from, right? Maybe things that could expand our life completely. Like I know that in my life, there are very few things that have enhanced my life from saying the word no. But there are a lot of things and even tough choices that when I said, yes, I'm going to do this, that they've expanded my life completely. So I encourage everyone out there to learn to say yes in accordance with what makes your life fuller, what makes your life more aware, what makes your life richer, and purposely positive, because that's what the purposely positive life is all about. So say yes to those opportunities. If someone wants to help you to get started on the journey, say yes. There are so many people out there that are willing to help. You know, I tell people if they want to come and coach with me, my door is always open. If not, then find someone who resonates with you, but get the help you need. Say yes to those opportunities in life, because there are more opportunities out there than we know.
Superb. Yes, and I think this is the best message my viewers have got today. Say yes and move forward, dart forward in your journey, attain it, and yes, yes, yes. And when you say yes, 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 everything around yourself begins to transform in a fantastic manner. You will just get your all ways open and you attain what you have desired in your life, what you have dreamt. So thank you so much from the bottom core of my heart, Tony, for coming up here, sharing your life experiences, and giving us n number of golden nuggets to everyone. And once again, thank you also to my lovely audience for their love, blessings, support, motivation. Thank you so much. Stay happy, hale and hearty. Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.